Blessings, everyone. Miss Rhonda here. I am heading to LA or the Whittier area today. I'm a little road trip. And I just thought, since I'm going to pass by my old home where I grew up in, that I would swing by the neighborhood and see what it looks like and share some old memories of where I grew up. Come with me. Best friend lived off to the right, and then one of my old ex-best friends lived right here off to the left, and I lived on this corner house right here. Let me turn over here really quick. I remember growing up over here, and my dad, he built us a pool. So we loved being home and swimming, hanging out with our friends, having people and friends over to spend the day swimming. And but this is the house I grew up in, right here. It looks so different, but my dad built us a pool, and I grew up right here in this house. I remember on the side of the house, over to the left side, my bedroom had sliding glass windows, and I would remember like being 4 or 5 years old, and I would open up the little lacy curtains that my mama had for us, and I would say, "Good morning, Jesus." I just know that the Lord has had me my entire life. He has never left me. And even though I might have strayed, He's still been there. And He's more present in my life than ever before. But this is where I grew up. The house used to be white, and I know that they remodeled the entire inside of it, but I'll insert some photos here so that you can see what my home looked like where I grew up. But I'm just going to park right here and just walk a little bit. Why not? Hey everyone, so I'm in Hacienda Heights. I'm at my old home where I grew up. I just wanted to come by and see what it looks like. Let's look. I would walk down this street, this sidewalk. It definitely had a chain link fence. It's so different. But I grew up here. I had a little red bug that my dad bought me, and I would park on the side of the house where this truck is. Wow. They have a big, beautiful garden. But it was all chain link fence. I remember having a little dog named Daisy. I was playing with her when I was outside about 4 years old or 5 years old. And right here by this little ditch, she got hit by a cement truck. And I remember running to the house going, "Mom, Daisy got dead. Daisy got dead." I remember that so vividly. But we had a wooden gate here. This was our pool. I'm going to see if I can peek over and you can see the pool. Dad had a pool for us. I That's where we would hang out. And then our friend Brianna Corrigan lived right here. Her and her mom and dad, Kathy and Ron, and they had horses, but they also threw a newspaper. Well, they did a paper route. That's what I meant. And we would go with them. But I remember them having horses, and they would be, training them, lunging them, and doing all the things in the back. And we even got to see one be born. I don't remember who lived here. But that little brick house, I'll go across the street in a second and show you that one. But this other house up here, our friend Lucy and Natalia that we went to school with, they were our neighbors and our buddies. And their mom or grandma, Connie Rose, was friends with my mom. And we would do parties and all that stuff, and they lived here. So different. What an absolute change. And then they started building these big mansions, these big old giant homes like across the street. It's just so different. But we had a buddy that lived over here in this brick house. I'm gonna cross the street. And I believe his name was Raymond. And he was funny, but he was friends with me and my sister. And they lived in this brick house. And he would always say he had 2 belly buttons. And it's because he swallowed some coins and had to have surgery. And it looked like the incision, he had 2 belly buttons. But he lived here in this brick house. It looks a lot nicer than it did. Look at how beautiful this flower. And then we had some other friends that my sister would babysit for, and they were Asian, and they had a little girl named Singe. And she lived here, and they would make us Chinese food or Korean food. I don't remember what nationality they were, but my sister would babysit, and they lived here. And I forgot who lived here. I forgot. One of my daddy's buddies too lived in this other corner house across the street. I don't know if they still live there or not. But George, we call him Gorgeous George. And he lived there with his wife and kids. It looks kind of desolate. I feel like walking down this street. I really do feel like walking down the street, and I'm going to do it. Let's just go. Why not? So this is the street that I would go to, and my sister and I would walk to high school. We went to Los Altos High School, and we would walk to and from school this way. And then I had my best friend Valerie from birth. We've been friends for 55 years. She lived down the street here. And then her grandma lived down the street. And then her cousin PJ lived down the street. And I've heard that her cousin PJ is now a pastor. But anyway, oh my gosh. This is a flashback for sure. I don't remember who lived in all these houses, but we did have, I think they were twins that lived in this house. I can't remember. But this is where me and my sister would walk to school. On this little street. And it was awesome. I don't know whatever happened to Grandma Chona's house. I know Valerie's grandma passed away a few years back. And I don't know if somebody ended up, one of the family members keeping it, or if they sold it, or what. But I'm going to look at it right now. She had roses galore all over her front yard. And Valerie would pick her roses, and she would be like, "Damn you, Valerie, quit picking my roses." She would be so mad, and we would be scared, but then we would laugh. And there was a point in time where Valerie and I would sing and dance, and we would smoke her grandma's cigarettes. She smoked Salem, but we would take a couple of her cigarettes. We didn't even know how to smoke at the time, but we just thought we were being cool, and we would take her cigarettes and go in her backyard and smoke cigarettes, or even in the bedroom, thinking we can, sneak a cigarette and smoke in the room, because her grandma smoked in the house. So, she's not going to tell if cigarette smoke is in the house or not, because she already had it filled with cigarette smoke. But anyway, my best friend Valerie lived in this house in the corner right here. She lived right there. There's a high school. We would walk through that gate and go to the high school. But she lived here. And then her grandma Chona lived right next door. She always had a drawer full of candy, chocolates, Baby Ruth, Butterfinger, Snickers, all the things for Valerie. She would hook us up. She always had full-on comida too, and this was her little house. There's still some rose bushes. But we would smoke the cigarettes back in the backyard. She had a bird in a cage, and his name was Elvis. And ever since then, all those years, I've loved Elvis because she loved Elvis. She named her bird Elvis because she loved him so much. But we would hang out here. Look at how tiny this little fence. This was her grandma Chona's house. So many memories hanging out there. And here too, running in and out of the back side door, sneaking out, doing all the things that teenagers do. And then we had a friend, 80. She lived in the corner house. Her name was 80. And her grandma would give us chocolate. Now, the chocolate that her grandma gave us was Abuelita. Still, this house looks the exact same. Might have a paint different color on it, but it looks the exact same. But our friend 80 lived in this corner house over here. And her grandma would give us Abuelita chocolate, a triangle piece each, and we would have a sugar rush. I wonder if I could still fit through that fence. Looks like it's blocked off, but I used to fit through that little gate. But yeah, she lived here in this house. 80, it looks totally different and new. But here's the school that I went to. And we would walk through the gate wasn't even, I don't remember the gate being there. I just remember this being there and us walking through that. And hang out and get to school. We were always late. Even though we lived right down the street. Oh yeah, and then we had another friend right here that lived here, Paula. I forgot her little sister's name, but her name was Paula. And Valerie's cousin Larry, he got mad at them for some reason, and he went and turned the water hose on in the window and flooded their house. They did something that made him mad. That was not good. He got in a lot of trouble for that. But this is where I grew up, you guys. My old stomping grounds. This is where I hung out. Crazy to be back here walking these streets. It's kind of cool though. It's kind of cool. Brings back a lot of memories. Because it seems like it's such a short little walk now, when back then I was like dreading this walk to school and back. I was like, I hate walking to school. I want to ride. Now, don't get me wrong. Every now and again we would get a ride. My dad would take us in his hot rod, one of his hot rods. Or we would have a friend with a license like Violet. She had a red cabriolet convertible, and she would come and pick us up, or most of the time she would pick my sister up. It was my sister's best friend at the time. We were all friends, but we still are. But she had a red cabriolet, she would pick us up or my sister up, and I'd be like, I want to go. I remember always being like, Mom, can I go? Can I go? And then my mom had to tell my sister, take your sister with you. I had to be begged to go. I had to be coaxed into going. And then, every now and again they would take me with them. More often than not, they wouldn't. They didn't want to be around younger kids or whatever. I was 5 years younger than my sister, so, them being 17, not wanting to hang out with a little punk. But anyway, this is the old Hacienda Heights neighborhood. It's cool. It's still so little. It seems so little. Anyway, we had another neighbor named Bernadette, and she lived on the corner across the street from us. And she would always hook us up with candy, See's candy, ice cream, whatever we wanted. I remember they had trees. They still have a lot of trees. She no longer lives there while she passed away. But Bernadette lived across the street. And I remember she would have parties and events and stuff. And I remember being all decorated up, all dressed all pretty. So our neighbor Bernadette lived here in this corner house. Bernadette King. And she would have events and parties and stuff. And I remember my mom getting us all dressed up, and we would go over there and have a party, and she would have a full front yard decorated with tables and chairs and food, catering. And I remember her coming up to me one time and saying, do you want a drink, honey? And I go, yeah, I want one. So she goes, do you want a sarsaparilla or a Shirley Temple? And I go, I want a Shirley Temple. Well, she brought it to me in a wine glass or in a little champagne flute. And I thought it was just the bee's knees with that drink. But she lived there for many, many, many years. Till she passed away. This is where I lived. As a teenager, as a child, this is where I grew up. And I'm thankful for it. I have a lot of really, really good memories here. My dad's gonna love to see this video. He's gonna love it. Let's go. This is Hacienda Boulevard. We had this great little area right up here that I would drive through. We had Christie's Donuts. We had Casa de Tacos with the best comida. And then we had Hacienda Village Meats with the best deli. You can get a good sandwich there. You can get some good food there. Then you had the Sunset Room. And it was just a great little space. I'm going to check and see what's here. If anything is still here. Oh, there's Christie's Donuts. Do I dare? Oh my gosh, I might have to. Oh, okay, so now it's Cafe FC, Sierra Beauty, Van. There's Hacienda Village Meats. Oh, they have Michoacan ice cream. There's the Sunset Room. Oh my gosh, you guys. And that across the street over there was a Market Basket. But since I'm here, we're gonna do some Christie's Donuts. Why not? I can get a couple. Let's do it. Let's go inside. Hi, good morning. Oh my gosh, you guys. It smells so good in here. I haven't been here in years. Since I was a teenager. What am I gonna get? Hi. I used to come here when I was a little girl. It's been years, but I want to get a couple of donuts. Can I get a chocolate with peanuts? Chocolate with peanuts, and then this
The buttermilk?
yes, with chocolate.
Chocolate.
Yes, please. Wow. Let's see if it's the same. Ooh, look at that. Yummy donut. Mm-hmm. I'm getting emotional. I've been emotional the whole ride over here. Just praising Jesus all the way. My car isn't called Worship on Wheels for nothing. Believe me, the presence of Jesus is in my car and in my heart. But this donut, being in this neighborhood, it just brings so many memories back. So many good memories. So many people that I'm not in contact with anymore. Some I am. Praise Jesus for that. I still have Valerie in my life. I still have Violet in my life from over here. And that's a blessing that we were able to keep our relationships and connections and our family. We ended up becoming family. It's just such a blessing now. I'm so thankful. It looks a lot nicer over here. The way they have everything. But yeah. So now I'll head over Colima Road and go down the little windy road over to Whittier. And let's see what we can find over there. Let's go. Seen a little drive-through dairy, Rockview, which we don't have where I live. And you would think with all of the dairies that we deal with that we would have a little drive-through dairy, but we don't. But there's one right here, and it's been like the best experience to drive through a dairy, get whatever you need, and keep on going, especially if you have a child in the car or a couple of children. It's, as I said, it's easy to just, in and out. You don't have to take them out of the car seat and do all the things. You just keep driving right through. Rockview. Mocha salsa. Don't get me started. Okay. I don't even know what I need, but I just want to come through here for a second. I'm just going to drive to the other side. Hi. I'm just driving through. We don't have any dairies where I live like this, and we should. I live in Visalia, California. Visalia. So Central Valley with all the dairies. I work for California Dairy, so
Okay, but
I would
dairy, huh?
no.
They look fancy. Dairy, that's why.
I know. I know. We have so many dairies over there, and I don't know why we don't have one like this. Absolutely. I have a video going right now, so I'm going to drive through the other side. Thank you. He said if you want to take pictures. Isn't that sweet of him? But yeah, basically you just drive right through and pick what you want. Isn't it awesome? Yeah, that's it. How cool is that? Rockview. Rockview. Okay, you guys, thank you for joining me. I'm going to pick up my son. He doesn't like to be on camera or on video, so I will end it right here. And I will catch you on the next one. Have a blessed day. Jesus loves you.